Deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
You always just go when
Let's go. People, Deluded, I'm back again. It's me and Jess. It's Thursdays. Arsenal beat Real Madrid. How you doing, darling?
I'm good. I can't complain. It's a great whatever day it is, Thursday.
You look like you're about to get your money back from someone that owes you money. Like, you look like you're about to do something, not legal.
It's cold. It's cold, so I'm trying to stay bundled up and stuff.
We can't relate, man. The weather in the UK is all right. It's all right. It's all right.
That's all you guys can really hope for, right? Sorry.
Are you starting this already? Like where we beat Real Madrid?
I'm not. I'm done. Go ahead.
There has to be a correlation between Arsenal signing Raheem Sterling and us being in the semi-final since 2009. Since we're gonna be silly.
If that's what you need to be okay with his season with us, that's fine.
He's had a good season, man. Everyone plays their part. Everybody. It's someone like Raheem Sterling who's not in the starting 11. It's his job to remain competitive in training, be a support system, and yeah, man, Jamaica's taking over Arsenal, man. But
you should be his agent.
You'll never see me on YouTube again. These shows will stop. Definitely. However much he's getting at Chelsea, 10%. I'm on that. I'm on all of that, man. It's been amazing. Before we carry on, can we just confirm we're going over to your platform after this?
Yeah.
And somebody said, Miss Jess, you still owe me that skincare routine tips. Big up, Donna.
Start with water. Drink the water, We'll start there. That's my first tip. Lots of water.
She's gatekeeping people. You see, this is the sort of person she is. If it was me, Donna, I would have told you. Gatekeeping. Oh, Arsenal mug and everything, man. What a goal from DG in that intro. I think Arsenal should sign you as a striker. I'm definitely not a striker. I'm a fullback. Broken clocks right twice a day. And, when you see the likes of me, Martinelli, we stand up to be counted in big games. But we got a lot to discuss. How you feeling about going through to the semi-finals against Real Madrid?
I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that we'd be so much points off of Liverpool and we would have suffered all these injuries, but we're knock out Real Madrid in the quarterfinal and be going on to the semis, I would have been like, wow, that's crazy. And I'd said it on my show yesterday after the game that I don't think as much as I'd rate Arteta. God damn, you got a lot of tabs up. Oh my God.
I know. Normally it's Alex. Normally you don't do anything. I need all of them. I actually need all of them. All of them will be gone by the time when we finish on your stream.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be gone. There's a method to the madness. You think I want these tabs open for no reason? I'm trying to give people content. I do a lot of work for us, Jess. I always try and make sure we've got talking points. Underrated, man. Just like Bukayo Saka. Horrible lady.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think I gave us enough credit. In terms of, I didn't give us a 0% chance, but I was definitely I'm not sure. But this type of performance across the two legs just shows how much that they've grown from last season's Champions League to this one. And there's some players that I think if you didn't rate them, meaning
hold that for. Would you just hold that for a second?
Okay.
Don't forget because you was on the roll. I just want to ask you, because I'm sure there's people that might not know what you're alluding to. Yeah, what do you mean by how we was last year versus this year in the champs?
I mean, I think one of the biggest disappointments from last season wasn't not winning the Premier League. It was the way that we went out to Bayern. I think that that really, to me, stuck with me because that season we had really shown that when we play up against big teams, we can come out with good results. We had beat City for the first time. We had beat Liverpool at home. We did a lot of things in that season that we hadn't really done before. So to come up the alarm bells were going off with Porto, because Porto are not the best team, but we really struggled with them. And then we went up against a weak Bayern by their standards and really went out sad, I thought. And after that, the talking heads were saying that Arsenal knew that they needed X factor and didn't go out there and get it. And then we came up against an even tougher test this time around in the quarterfinals against a Real Madrid side that I think psychologically are a little bit, they're a little on the like unsure side. And it was the perfect opportunity for us to sucker punch them, and we did. And we actually saw that we do have some players with X factor that maybe we didn't think had it before or hadn't shown it before in the biggest moments. So that was a very revealing tie. And I think it was a mental tie. The PSG tie for me is the tactics and the talent and all that. This tie to me was all about mentality and what was going on up here, and we won the battle. And so I'm super proud of them.
I think you're right, man. I don't know what I'm prouder of. I don't know if it's the first leg at the Emirates because of just how we played, and definitely one of the greatest nights, if not the greatest night in Arsenal history at the Emirates era, or how we performed at the Bernabeu. Obviously, some people say our players looked a bit nervous. Naturally, this is a lot of their first times playing at the Bernabeu, but I think we coped well. Tactically, was very street smart. Obviously, Real Madrid, I think obviously Champions League is their bread and butter, but it's on brand with them this season. Again, I think the game they played before us was like their first clean sheet since February. Tactically, there's been question marks over Carlo. There's only so much aura hype, and we're Real Madrid, and I can't even say the word Rotunda. You can scream all of this until you're blue in the face, especially for someone like Jude Bellingham. He looks similar to me. You'll be there all day. There needs to be something more. And for all of the hype, I think we stood up too. We reacted to setbacks. Like, in what world, especially with what you said earlier about, if somebody told you that this is how the season would have played out, if somebody also told me that and said we'd go through against Real Madrid with William Saliba dropping a clanger 2 minutes after we've taken the lead in that game, Bukayo Saka trying to Panenka and he still scores, I'd have looked at you like you're smoke with Marino up front and Kivior. I'd look at you like you're smoking something very special, and I know it's not weed. So big them up. Even like this tweet, we missed the penalty, gifted them a goal, and still won at the Bernabeu when we're already 3 goals up to the good. It does not make any sense. And I think the greatest thing you said there was the mentality. I'm not going to say we're mentality monsters and things, but for me, I think we looked better than we did against Bayern. And we had that calmness, man. Everybody had that calmness. And I want to ask you something, like, because it looks like we've improved psychologically or come of age, does that give you more confidence in maybe not necessarily just, winning the Champions League this year, but also challenging for major honors in years to come?
I think so. I think there's certain games like that you look at where you can see a team is like letting go of past trauma or, learning new things about themselves, that they can do things. And it's one thing saying that you can and then getting it over the line and looking back and being like, we really did that. And so I think we will be able to, sometimes you need like examples of you persevering or winning to draw back from in difficult moments to know that you can do it. And so this Arsenal team, which is the core of everything that we're trying to do, now has something to look back on and say, well, we were able to do that, so why can't we do it now? And so, yeah, I think it's important. If you can beat Real Madrid home and away, regardless of what form they're in, regardless of what's going on with them, what inside their locker room or whatever, you definitely should be able to feel like you can beat anybody, because there's nobody that's more psychologically draining to play against than them. They're the worst.
I think you're bang on the money, man. And I think, honestly, watching them, I was like, they're players. Obviously, they've got top players. They've got a top manager, stadium and all that. But we made a big song and dance about atmosphere. I think the atmosphere played a part for us. I don't think it played a part for Real Madrid. I think for a lot of their talking, and you can see here Luis Vasquez is doing that age-old thing of how dare you come to the Bernabeu and you don't attack, and sour grapes. I'd be upset too if Arsenal were essentially Champions League virgins and you lot have won it 15 times and you're upset. But you need to be upset with yourself. It's not our fault. What you mean? You want us to make it an open game? When it was an open game, Martinelli scored, but we'll definitely get onto that. Do you think Mikel Arteta has learned about his team? Because obviously, Mikel Arteta is a madman in a good way. He's an over planner. He does all of that kind of stuff. But at some point, I think there's also like a temp. Like you can do like out of 100%, that's like 90%. Then you got a 10% where I think to trust the players. And I actually think he started to trust the players. He didn't try and micromanage and overmanage. But where would you be with that?
I think nobody believes in this team more than Mikel, to be honest.
True.
I think he believes in them more than any of us do. I think he feels that they can do these things, and that's why he didn't try to overdo anything. That's why, he went with, the same lineup. He didn't cave and like take Kivior out or anything like that. He believes more than anyone else. So I'm not sure that I feel like he learned anything. I think they learned more than anything. And the fans learned. But if there's anybody in the Arsenal organization that believes in this team, it's Mikel Arteta. I think
It's his team.
Yeah, he's built this side. He's handpicked a lot of these players, and I think he does. Like he knew Marino was going to go up there and play center forward and do well. He knew it. Like, so I may have not known it, but he definitely did. So yeah, I think Arteta believes more than anybody else.
Before we progress, I have to ask you, like the first leg is one thing and all of that, but is it just me, or did Real Madrid, not just Real Madrid's admin on Twitter and everything connected with the club, but their players, did it feel to you that A, they was a bit too rattled after the first leg, and two, they were just doing a bit too much on social media?
I think confidence is quiet. And I think the fact that the more they talked, the more I thought that they didn't believe. I think when you're confident, you are quiet and you let the work speak for itself. The fact that they kept talking about it made me think that they were trying to overcompensate for a weakness that we've seen with Real Madrid all season. Make no mistake about it. They're the type of team that if you show weakness, they will take advantage of it. But if you don't, they have a difficult time this season, I think, getting it over the line. And they've suffered quite a bit this season after a season where they've done so well. So I think there was that mental fragility. Had we had caved, they would have taken advantage of it, but we didn't.
100%.
So, and then they became petulant, which I thought was really good once we got past the first 15, 20 minutes where they were like hard tackles and running fast and trying to really get it going. After that, I saw the petulance come in, the weird tackles. Jude was very strange, the entire, like both ties. Or both
Rudiger stepping on Lewis Kelly's ball bags and that.
Yeah, stepping on us and all the crying and whining and all that and the flopping in the box and all that. I was like, they don't feel like they can win. And we took them out of the leg. Yeah, we took it out of them, the air right out of their sails. They didn't believe. But the more that their PR talked and the more that they started talking about remontada and see there and all that, I was like, they don't believe. So all we have to do is just be professional. And we were. When I said I wanted a professional 2-0 win at some stage this season, we didn't quite get it because Saliba still had his little slip up, but that was one of the most professional performances we put out this season.
As you said, there's one of the most professional performances we put out this season. Did you sneeze?
No, I just said.
Oh, sorry. I was about to have manners. My bad. I think it was one of our more professional performances. Naturally, we've beaten Real Madrid, and that these are the games that people buy into. The fans, the players. Obviously, we need to go over the line, but it just shows you that if you stick to your principles, if you do everything that we did versus Real Madrid, that's special things can happen. To see a young Miles Lewis Skelly, me and you are always waffling about week in, week out about this guy, to see what he's done, to see Kivior stand up to be counted. I actually think Saliba had a good game. Obviously, he made that fuck up. And across, that's the only thing I would say with the two legs. Football's decided in both halves, isn't it? First leg, there was a number of stray passes that went unpunished. Probably could have scored more. Second leg, we was professional. We took the lead. 2 minutes later, the Saliba F up. We allow Saliba. I know he ain't been at his heights of this season, but generally he saved our bacon and had a good game. Kivior standing up to be counted. You've got to big him up. Julian Timber. Another one. Me and you are bored of speaking about him in a good way. Like, we know what they're on. They're absolutely phenomenal. Big them up, man. Like, big them up. And
I could, if somebody says, do you want to talk to me about Julian Timber? Yes. Give me a mic. Let me talk.
Take it away, man.
There's just, he's just so, I just feel like if you look at the way that we've been, and yes, like from an attacking standpoint, we've fallen away a little bit. I think we all can just say, like, from the last 2 seasons, we haven't been the same kind of team that we were 2 seasons ago. But from a defensive 100%. Standpoint, I do think that when you take, put Timber in there, you're just locked down. Like, he's just so, I like that he uses his aggressiveness when it matters, but then he can pare it back and like not do too much. There's just something about Timber that makes me feel a lot more secure. And we were talking about this on my post match yesterday, is that there's no shade to Ben. I love Ben down. But the biggest compliment I can give to Timber is that there was really no point where I felt like, yeah, but if Ben White was here, because Timber just in the big moments in these types of games, Champions League games, you need to have somebody that just shuts down those really good players. And coming up against Vinny Jr., who, whether he's on form or not, is a very difficult opposition to go up against. I just think he just made it hell for him. He just made it hell. Like he really did. And so you think about some of the big games that have gone past in a couple of years and how maybe our fullbacks have been like a point of failure, in terms of giving up.
Nobody's seen Timber destroyed. And it will happen one day, but it ain't happening anytime soon.
I do think you have to look at it and say that that was an upgrade that took us from a very good defense to the best defense, and that's a huge compliment. He's just he's intelligent, he's physical, he's athletic. Whatever he lacks going forward, because I know some people don't love the way that, maybe he's not as attacking as people would like. I don't give a fuck, because he just makes it so much easier for Saka. Man. Like he makes it so much easier for Saka. And so I just rate him so highly. And that fullback pairing will come up against the only other fullback pairing that I think can even talk to them in the world.
Who's that?
And that's Nuno Mendes and Hakimi. They're the only other fullback pairing that I look at that are even in the same conversation or on the same level. And it's in different ways anyway, because Hakimi and Nuno Mendes to me are just like very attacking, but I love it. I love Timber. Like he's so good. And so he's probably been a sneaky player of the season. I still think it's
he ain't been sneaky. I've been saying that he definitely ain't been. There's nothing sneaky about that. He's been up there.
I feel like nobody talks about. I feel like when it's like, well, is it Saka? Is it so and so? I think it's Gabriel for me. I think over the course of the season, he has been our best player even without playing in this last Champions League tie. But Timber has been he's definitely up there. He's 100%,
especially because of the ACL. Well, I don't want to keep saying the ACL because he's been back for a minute, but he's 100%. If I knew Timber off the record, any of Arsenal's medical staff and Mikel Arteta, in an ideal world, which I keep saying on this channel, ideal conditions in life like football are never there. He's probably played a lot more minutes. So that's why I rate the consistency even more. He stood up to be counted. You've said everything. Like he's been amazing. I think there's a few players that could be our player of the season, if I'm honest with you. We'll get on to him. But I think Partey has a claim. I think Magalhaes has a claim. Have I said Timber? I think Timber's got a claim. Probably more likely to win Young Player of the Year, but I'd say Miles Lewis-Skelly has a claim. And now people were looking at me crazy. I said Bukayo Saka. Look how it started. Look at that 3 months like that he was out. He's come back like he ain't missed. We've all seen the Real Madrid games. I'm tired of there's a lot of things I'm tired about. Declan Rice as well of late. I'm tired of gassing up Saka. I'm tired of gassing up Rice. I'm tired of gassing up Lewis-Skelly. I'm tired of it because at this point, the goalposts are always going to move. You're using your eyes. Even seeing Rio Ferdinand come out and say, oh, yeah, Saka is world-class. Shut up, man, because you were saying Phil Foden was world-class for much less. Pricks. Absolute pricks.
And I do see this on the screen, and I will say that like Martinelli was really, really good yesterday.
Oh, well, hey, we gonna get to Martinelli. Don't jump the gun, man. Don't jump the gun, man.
Jump the gun. He's gonna get a lot of praise from me. So
oh shit. Yeah. Hold that thought, people. Clip that minute. Don't let me forget that. We're here, Martinelli. We're here. Do you think Martinelli's do you think Timber's world class, and do you think he's a complete defender? That's actually why I had those comments up.
I would say like the way that I think about it, I would say if Timber, to me, Timber is one of the best in the world, and it's not even really but one more season playing at this level, I would say so.
No,
Declan Rice for me is world class, and so is Saka. So and I think it's
Gabriel and Saliba.
And Gabriel and Saliba. But
can we force the Raya one? Or top 5 keeper in the world? Can he go through on that one?
He's up there for sure. But 100%, the guy on the screen is world class. Like
he's mustard. He's busted, isn't it? Like, do you know what, Jess? The first thing we have to say with Rice, you're a complete midfielder. You can do the defending, you can score goals, you can do the six stuff. Another thing I'll say, Jess, is we have to forget the Rice in the six. There'll be games for it. We'll get onto PSG, but there might even be that. Just let Rice in the eight, man. But what have you thought of his performance across the two legs and yesterday as well, man? Because it was a different kind of job for him yesterday.
Yeah, I think Rice in this tie has created core memories for a lot of young Arsenal fans. Some of the core memories that I have as younger Jess came from that Invincibles team.
I thought he was going to say Liam Brady.
From Cesc, stuff like that. And they have the same from probably Saka and Declan Rice, but so many people will remember those two performances. And outside of even the free kicks, I think he was the best midfielder out there. And he played against Camavinga, he played against Modric, he played against Bellingham, he played against Tchouaméni, and he played against Valverde. And he was so clear.
He made Modric think about retiring, respectfully to Modric. Yeah. That's one of them games you're like, I've had my time. It's time to go.
Yeah. He is so clear. And when you spend £100 million on a player, you want more than just talent. You want the intangibles too. I don't think you can buy a player for that amount and it can just be about what they can do on a stat sheet. They have to have something.
United can.
Huh?
United can, Chelsea can. I have to throw the agendas out.
Yeah, but they're seeing levels because Rice has the types of intangibles that make you a special player. It's the mentality. He's a big game player. It's the ability to go outside of whatever patterns, whatever was pre-planned and just go with your gut and what's natural. I feel like Rice is the most, like, he just does what's natural in football. And he just is such a throwback to the types of midfielders.
Just a centre mid, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly.
None of this 8 and 6 crap. You just know when you need to defend, know when you need to attack.
Like a Vieira type. Like, you didn't know if
finally replaced him
was a 6 or an 8. He just did the job. Like, he just did what you needed to do. He reminds me so much of like Vieira and Steven Gerrard, like a mix of those two players. And I love both of those two players. So, and a little bit of David Beckham too, when he takes a free kick. So yeah, he has all the ingredients of the type of midfielders that I grew up on. And that's why I feel like I really like him, because sometimes football is simple. And sometimes you just have to do what you're meant to do. And he gets it done. He made Jude Bellingham look like a fucking scrub. I like
Jude
that.
Bellingham done it to himself, police boy.
Yeah, I rate Jude. I do. But there was only one English midfielder that came out on top, and that was definitely Declan Rice.
We're going to force it and say Lewis Kelly because he was inverting. But yeah.
Okay.
What do you think of this comment? Big up DG and Jess. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel with the correct coaching, Rice can be a Stevie G Lampard type midfielder. Well, you can't be Paul Scholes, but I think you can be them too.
I think that's how Arteta sees him, and I totally understand. Like, in the right circumstances, he has that Stevie G thing about him. Lampard as well, but we don't speak about that guy. But definitely has the Stevie Gerrard thing, and that's when I look at Rice and when he plays like he did yesterday, I see the perfect mix of like kind of like a Vieira, Steven Gerrard type of midfielder. And if I had to construct a midfielder, it would be that. Just a CM that just does the shit.
In some Michael Carrick and we're lit.
Yeah, a little bit of Michael Carrick, and like I said, some Becks on free kicks, and there we are. So he was out freaking rageous. Like, that performance, I was like tears in my eyes. When's the last time you've seen Arsenal midfielder play like that in a European fixture? When?
You're looking at Jack Wilshere. You're probably looking at Ozil against like Bayern or something, but not twice on the spin.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at Cesc Fabregas as a teenager and some others as well. Well, obviously, when we was in that era. Apart from that, scratching my head, and that's far too long ago. And Rice, thank you, man. Like, thank you. Like, big up Mikel Arteta. Should we just accept he's at 8 now, though, and forget the 6 thing unless need be?
I mean, he's probably going to play 6 in the next thing, unless Jorginho gets fit. But
it's dark.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it is what it is. I don't view him as like just an 8, maybe just like a center midfielder. he's just not a player that you can put in a box. And I think that's more what we've learned than a specific position. Maybe he's just a player that you can't put in a box. He's beyond the box. Like he's just a very, very, very good player. Top, so it is what it is.
He is evolving to become a complete midfielder, man. There was something I wanted to ask you. Someone had a question, but it's gone. But anyways, moving on. Shout out to Raz. Oh yeah, that's it. Obviously, I'm going left with this because it's an Arsenal thing, and you're American. I don't know if you lot are gonna have a good showing at the World Cup, but we probably are, right? Typically, he does the dirty work in England's midfield. He's kind of not really the glee man, but the glee man. Do you think with what you've seen with Rice in the 8 and maybe over these 2 games in particular against Real Madrid, Thomas Tuchel's even thinking, do you know what? Maybe I can revitalize Declan Rice in my setup. And obviously you got Lewis Skelly as well.
Well, I think the biggest problem that England has is that they don't have another DM of a certain level. So we have the luxury of being able to play like Thomas Partey or Jorginho in the 6 and then moving Rice forward, but they don't, so their only real option, in my opinion, is to play Rice in the 6 and then to construct a more balanced midfield. I think Tuchel did a really good job in this last international window, letting Miles Lewis Skelly really pinch in, and they were like a double pivot and then
double 6, yeah.
Jude. Because my thing with Jude is that I think you want Jude on the ball a lot less in the center of the pitch, and you want him on the edges of the box doing things, making those runs and stuff. I think England look worse the more that they want him to play more like an 8. So the freer he can be, the better. But England have options. They just don't have an option at 6 that's any better, even close to Declan Rice. So they just have to hold that.
Who you lot got? And who's America got as an 8 or a 6?
Tyler Adams.
Nah, he's good, man. Unique qualities. He's good, man. He's good. See you at the World Cup next year, man. That's great stuff, man. Great stuff. Fair play. Fair enough. You lot have an Englishman in Robertson. You was on the case of gassing him, and you were right. What do you think of Mikel Arteta as well? Because again, me and you are going to keep focusing on the PSG and individual performances. If this went left, like if the 2 games against Real Madrid, what we did to Real Madrid happened to us, the title might be different of this video. We might be having different conversations. What do you think of Mikel Arteta over these 2 legs, man? And should we lay off the guy a bit?
I think if this was any other manager, we would hear a lot more, about what he's done. And I know it's like yesterday on my post-match, there were people that were like, yeah, but I can't really give him credit because he still needs to win a trophy. And I just think that that's a weird way of thinking, because you don't have to change how you feel in totality about anybody, while you can just give them credit for like what they've done in that, it's like, it's a very strange way of thinking.
That's agendas. You got agenda people in your YouTube comments,
like, that's just because I don't like the idea of like not being able to praise someone just because maybe you don't think they're good enough or whatever. And that's not even what I'm saying about Mikel. I just think, when we go into the tie, we're largely written off. Ancelotti's going to do an eyebrow and Arteta's just going to capitulate. And he didn't do that. And I think he managed both games, especially, I would say the first one for me is more impressive because that's the one that gave us the cushion that we needed. And we didn't manage.
This one don't feel as dramatic, Like, it's funny you said that because I can't downplay Real Madrid and what we did. And I'm happy to win both games. And even though we didn't need to win that, but it feels like an anticlimax. It's like the game yesterday was like, it's like the game the game at the Emirates was like the first movie, and then the sequel, which isn't as good, which is not right, but I feel I should be more excited than I was.
Yeah, but that's because the first leg he managed so well, and as much as people will be like, well, it's just the 2 free kicks, it's really not. The way we managed that game from start to finish was perfect. He coached like a 5-0 in the first leg. We weren't overly ambitious. We didn't lose our shape.
Street smart.
We were good. Like, he just deserves credit for the way that he handled this tie. And really, the way that we've performed in Champions League this season has been the only thing that really has sustained us, and it's not
the Super League.
Yeah. So we were in that top 8, in the league kind of situation. And then since then we've been really good, so yeah, he deserves a lot of credit. He won't get it, but he should get it. Because if this was anyone else, they'd be up their butt.
People have paused, but people have been gassed up for less than that. There's Arsenal tax, there's Mikel Arteta tax, there's like internal Mikel Arteta tax. Some people, when things are going left, they don't ask questions. Now that we've had these results and we ain't won the Champions League, but we're thinking about it. They would rather be wrong and strong just to say, yo, you know what, Arteta, fair play. What you said there is bang on the money, because for me, just what annoys me is everything's black and white in it. Like, you can say on one hand, Arteta, which he has shown, and I've said this before and been killed. I genuinely think purely from a coaching perspective, the man's a genius. The man's a maniac, in terms of motivating players, making them see what they could be like, with Rice as known as a world-class 6, making him as an 8, all of those kind of things that he does on and off the field. He's great at that. He's doing that. For me, I respect that. But because I rate you that highly, you do need to get over the line at some point. We do need things that are in history, which annoys me, but just, you know how it goes, especially with this club. So what more is there to be said? So yeah, big up yourself, Gaffer. Those with a brain cell, fans of football, let alone Arsenal, isolated to that 180 minutes, they'll give you your flowers, man. Mikel Marino, though, because me and you disagree on a lot. We both backed Mikel Marino. Maybe we therefore didn't say he was a shaker, but we said allow him a bit, let him get some confidence. And 3 assists in 2 games now against Madrid and a goal. Shout out Mikel, man. Well, Marino, double M.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a grown, like, I don't know how to explain it, but he's just a grown up.
He's the grown up in the group.
Yeah, he's a grown up in the room. Like, he just
favorite teacher.
Calm, cool, and collected. And sometimes maybe he's a little too cool and he takes a little bit too long or whatever. But for the most part, I really do feel like what he gives you is just like a good standard up front of somebody that knows how we're trying to play, opens up, the game plan for our wingers. And what he did back to goal, I thought was really, really good yesterday in terms of receiving the ball and then releasing it to like Martinelli and Saka, and the pass that he made for the goal is just.
I know you thought of me when Martinelli scored. It's okay though. We're gone.
Oh, because he also passed the ball for Martinelli too. Yeah, because he got both assists. So, I mean, he's been a revelation at center forward. And I think maybe what he has that maybe Kai doesn't have is maybe a little bit of like refinement. Like, he just has like maybe a little bit more of like a cleaner touch and stuff like that. And that suits
He's just a better footballer, respectfully to Kai.
I don't want to be
more
like, I don't want to be, because Kai.
Just be honest. I know you're trying to be diplomatic and I'm not dissing Kai, but come on, man. This guy's Spanish. He's more cultured on the ball. I'm not dissing Kai, but come on, man. He's a better footballer, quote unquote. Surely.
Yeah, I thought he
just gets it.
Yeah, he did really well. And, there's not much more that I can say because I didn't anticipate him being this good at center forward, but he has been. I mean, Arsenal with some sort of midfielder playing center forward is crazy.
None of it's making sense. We've got a midfielder playing up front. We've got a world-class 6 playing as an 8. We got our centre mid playing left back. We got our full third choice centre back performing. And for me, I'm like, you know what?
For most teams, like, what the fuck is going on?
None of it. Football doesn't make sense. We got a guy coming back from an ACL. We got a bunch of kids on the bench, in which Mikel Arteta, there's been closer games in the Prem where you could have brought on the unknown kids. Respectfully, forget Wanyeri and the other ones, and he didn't do it. Football just doesn't make sense. I gotta be devil's advocate because this is a conversation that was said on my stream yesterday. Yeah. Is he better up front than Kai Havertz? And if yes, are we being reactionary?
I feel like it might be a little bit reactionary just because this is what we're seeing. I mean, how do we think the games would have gone if Kai was up there? Because he probably would have scored one of the tap-ins, from.
But he wouldn't have got no assist though.
But he definitely wouldn't have gotten the assist.
He wouldn't have scored that goal against Leicester, to be fair.
No, he
big up Kai though, because shiny new toy syndrome to a degree.
Yeah, I don't want to be disingenuous, and I don't know if I feel as strongly because I mostly just don't want to even be having these conversations. I think we said this about, you know what I mean? But one thing, because I just saw like a glimpse of that comment, is when we were first, it was like 2 comments ago, when we first got Marino, and there was one about Spanish midfielder, but we were talking about bringing in Marino and how people were saying that he was shit, right? And I'm just like,
and we were killed for backing him.
There's no way that you're going to bring in a midfielder that plays for Spain and he's not going to have a certain technical level. Like, they just have a certain, they just are taught from a young age in a different way. And what he may lack in athleticism or whatever, he doesn't lack anything up here. And I think he's
Thinkers, man,
all
footballer.
players are really smart. But I think Mikel Marino's brain is probably one of the best. He just knows what to do, you know, and then he has the technical ability to go with it. And so, yeah, I think anybody that thought that he didn't have a certain technical level, I think was being disingenuous. Is he a level raiser for us? No. But is he a good footballer? Absolutely. Yeah.
But he didn't answer the question though, Jess. Great talking, but he didn't answer. Is he better up front than Kai Havertz?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, at this stage, if they were both fit and we knew what we were getting from Kai and we knew what we were getting from Marino, I'd probably stick with Marino. Yeah.
I gotta be devil's advocate again. Should Marino become a striker? Because he's doing the business.
But should he play in the center forward position? Yeah, I mean, that's a good position.
Obviously, like, I'm just making it clear we still need to buy it. Like, anyways, like you're not the guy like that. But
yeah, I mean,
can he just be a forward now?
I just feel like this presents such like when you have somebody like Marino come in and do the job that he's done, it does undermine this whole idea that Havertz has reinvigorated Arsenal. What it tells me is that a decent to good footballer is going to score goals in our team. That's what it tells me. And so I don't know what that means for Kai Havertz. I don't. But Marino, he's been great. I think I would choose him. And when we get a striker, things are going to get really interesting because now both of them play the same positions. Both Marino and Havertz play the same.
And Marino can actually slot into midfield. Kai can, but he can't really. So
yeah,
I'm not sure, man.
It's gonna get fucking interesting. I don't think
one costs 30 odd million quid as well. The other one 65.
Yeah, and one of highest earners. So if you have somebody that you could buy, like Marino, and you could have done, you know, we're getting this from that investment. Then I think it does look bad on the Kai signing. It already was bad, but now it looks worse. But that's not to say that Kai hasn't done well with us, but it's going to be very interesting when we buy a striker. That's all I'm going to say.
It's going to be. I think Marino's spot, obviously, you could caveat that and say, you know what, Kai Havertz is rated by the manager. He's probably held in higher regard. I know he won the Champions League at Chelsea, but he's held in higher regards as a footballer playing week in, week out for Arsenal Football Club than he ever was at Chelsea. He's clearly comfortable here. One thing he has that Marino hasn't is he's a couple of years younger. So he's got all of that. And to be fair to Kai Havertz, I think if you give them both a football, I think Marino is way better than him on the football. He's more of a culture kind of guy. Havertz has more legs. He's more industrious. He's a fighter, as Mikel Arteta says. And to be fair to Kai, he's still one of our top goal scorers. He stood up to be counted the second half of last season. I do think he's ugly with a football in comparison to Marino. I don't know if Marino got the same amount of games in the same amount of contexts as Kai, if Marino would be doing that. So I want to be fair to him. But I think it raises in question is something, I can't remember the stream, but it was me and you who were speaking. And you said something similar. I was like, obviously, we need a Gyökeres, someone that's going to put the ball in the back of the net. But we all know how difficult this role is for Mikel Arteta up front. Yeah, it's almost a selfless act. If you get opportunities in the final third and you can score or assist, that's you in it. But you're the first point of defense with the pressing. You've got to drop into midfield. You've got to be a sacrificial lamb kind of thing. I would say the biggest thing that for me is at this moment in time, throughout Mikel Arteta's time, I've seen you play Aubameyang and Lacazette. Cool, they're strikers, right? But Eddie Nketiah has gone up front. Jesus has gone up front. Marino's gone up front. Havertz has gone up front. I might be missing someone else out. If scoring goals was all you wanted, then none of these guys go up there. But then I don't want to be disingenuous to Kai Havertz, but Marino's got this upstairs. So you could ask anybody that's half competent, that's got a bit of a brain, you can do what Kai Havertz was doing. So maybe he's a bit more disposable and is very reactionary. But I wonder if they sit there, Alberta sits there and says, you know what, I don't think this will be the thing because there's many others, but maybe we need to flog Kai Havertz, get a proper striker in, maybe even scope to get in another forward. And you've got Marino. I think with Marino in midfield, and we'll get onto it, but he'll probably play against PSG and that if nothing changes. It does raise in question Kai, but I want to be fair to him. I think if you give them both a football, I think Marino's got this upstairs. So you could ask anybody that's half competent, that's got a bit of a brain, you can do what Kai Havertz was doing. So maybe he's a bit more disposable and is very reactionary. But I wonder if they sit there, Alberta sits there and says, you know what, I don't think this will be the thing because there's many others, but maybe we need to flog Kai Havertz, get a proper striker in, maybe even scope to get in another forward. And you've got Marino. I think with Marino in midfield, and you've got Marino. I think I don't
Yeah.
want to get
I
on to
think,
Kai for the contribution he gave us.
yeah, I think, you know,
Well, not sorry, Jess. Nobody's disrespected Kai. Why do people like saying
no,
this? But go on.
it's not about disrespecting Kai. I just think Arsenal, you just have to look at it with clear eye view. I don't think either of us are saying that Kai hasn't made a good contribution to the team and that he hasn't played well for us. And at the back end of last season, he did quite well. But when you look at our system and you recognize that really not anyone, but if you're a pretty good footballer, you'll score in our system. It does call to
Don't
question
tempt Arteta. You might try to get Hoisling, but go ahead.
why your highest earner is, you have to say his performances maybe aren't even like that much clearer than somebody that nobody rated in Mikel Marino. So I do think a lot has been made out of, Kai's contribution in terms of like he's changed so much and he's like this indispensable guy. I think he's indispensable in terms of like we'll not be able to get him off the books now. But in terms of like him and Mikel Marino basically will serve the same purpose next season.
Squad
And
guys.
it's going to be, just like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see what we do, because that's not why you buy a 65 million pound player and put him on our highest wages, is to be just as good as Mikel Marino.
I'm sorry, not Havertz. Arteta's hindsight's a wonderful thing, and we'd all be smarter and probably would have done well in school and all of that kind of stuff if we could go back in time. But I don't think Mikel Arteta regrets signing Kai Havertz.
No,
But
he
quote
doesn't.
unquote, maybe he does when you see what Marino is doing. But if both of them can be on the bench or in the squad, obviously away from what Jess rightly said with the wages and all of that kind of stuff, I'm for it, because as we all know here, our Arsenal fans, smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed to Jesse's platform. We need more players. Like, we genuinely need more players. As quote unquote romantic it is with Marino, and it's nice for Marino because he had a tough start to life. He's doing well up front, going in confidence. We've seen Marino, Kivior, Lewis Skelly. I'm not saying these are the wrong things, but where you look at the context is that we've had to utilize these players. If we're in the quarterfinals against Real Madrid or a semis, do we really, next year and the year after, do we really want to be in those circumstances? So it's a learning curve, man. Shout out to Moreno, though. He's doing his thing. We've gassed up Timber already. Like, and you laughed at, don't laugh at them, because you laughed at my tabs. We know Real Madrid had no tactics. What else have we got here? Mikel Arteta said this is probably one of his proudest moments managing our football club, which is great. Oh, Arteta, I never get no R and all of that. What's all of that? I didn't even get. I want to say this to Jess. Do you know how I got some bland happy birthday message? It just said happy birthday, no emote, no nothing. I'm not a happy lad. Horrible lady, horrible. Some basic happy birthday. In fact, what is it? There's definitely no emote. Some very formal. She's very formal in Texas as well. Where is it? Happy birthday. Me, D. No, not even the X. Me, D. But anyways, I digress.
Oh my goodness.
What was you saying, Jess? No, that's horrible. I was thinking, she hates me. But I can't lie, man. We're in the semi-finals.
I know, it's wild, man. I think we have a really good chance. I know that I just got off of Mo's stream and they were saying that they kind of all think PSG are the favorites, and that's fine.
They can have that tag.
Yeah, I don't need to be the favorite. I do think we're going to match up. Now, see, this is where it gets interesting. I seconded like Declan's reaction to Partey getting that stupid yellow. I think that's the only thing that concerns me, is now the midfield that we had that has been working now has to be reshuffled. And we also don't know what Jorginho is going to be like, because he got injured during Brentford. So that kind of throws things into a little bit of like suspicion. But that being said, I'm glad that the game that he'll miss is going to be the one at home. If it was the one in Paris, I think I'd be like, fuck, but it's the one at home. So, you're going to have your 12th man and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to be in your home, that kind of stuff. But I think we have really good chances. I got a glimmer of hope watching them almost throw away their semifinal position against Aston Villa. And I know Aston Villa is a weird team for us as well, but PSG are honest. They're a very honest team. And what I mean by that is they don't have any street smart. They play great football, but they have zero street. No, in
Look
a
what they did at
game,
Anfield. That's a bit harsh. You can't say they lack street
I
smartness.
think
That's
that
harsh.
against Villa, they got a little bit too confident,
Yeah,
and
they
then
were playing balls
they
across
led
their area that we could have exploited. I give them that.
3 goals in 20 minutes, and not a single person fell on the ground and rolled around and feigned injury to get any sort of like to slow
I
the
hear
game
that.
down. Aston Villa just had just foot on the gas, and PSG were just letting them do that. And they weren't really dealing well with some of the physicality as well. Like once Villa, they had McGinn running through the gut, So I do think that that gave me a little bit of hope that they're as good as PSG are. There are things that we can exploit because what are we good at? We're good at defending.
Almost similar things to them. We're not gonna. I don't want to jinx us, but we're not gonna get caught on the break like how Martinelli scored against Real Madrid, or like I'm sure the first goal Aston Villa scored. We're not gonna get caught like that. I think we can. Well, Partey's not there, but I think we can cope with their midfield. I think we press well. I think one thing I like about PSG from a neutral point of view is they stick to the script, even when there's bare. It's easy to play out from the back and do all of that when there's no pressure, but they stick to the script. But I do think that comes with there's gonna be like a Saliba mistake, like they did against Villa that went unpunished. If we can punish those things, we're lit. I think we're quite even. Obviously, Enrique is a heavyweight in this game. It's a good clash.
Yeah,
I think it's fairly even.
I think so too. I also think we have the, maybe a little bit of a psychological thing with them feeling like we're probably the hardest team that they've played.
We need Saka and Martinelli that way with the fullbacks though. Like,
yeah,
we're gonna have to work.
We're gonna actually get a chance to see our fullbacks up against really, really top attackers. Like that's not to say that Real Madrid don't have that, but they're really in their bag right now. The
They're in a good
Barcolas,
moment,
the
unlike
Dembélés.
Madrid.
So it's going to be really interesting. But I do think this is, in a way, is going to be a much more difficult tie because, Real Madrid were really doing up a lot of heritage and mind tricks and stuff. But we're going to have to play ball.
See the eyebrow. Was there?
Yeah,
I didn't see Carlo once do that.
Yeah, but either way, I'm excited. I want to play the best of the best. I think also people should respect Inter a little bit more. I think there's this like desperation to write them off for some reason.
I think they're the favorites.
Oh, really? See, I don't know.
If there's 4 teams just in it. Go on.
I just don't know why people are writing them off. I see a very
well-drilled
tactical team that have dangerous players up front, a world-class player in Barella in their midfield, some old dogs that know the tricks.
Good fullback.
Yeah,
and 2 strikers in a good moment.
Yeah, I don't see why people are writing off Inter. They went to the Allianz Arena and got a win. That's a difficult thing to do, So, yeah, this is a very good semifinal group, and I'm happy that we're the only English team. So. Yes.
Yeah, we need to get through and win it, man. I mean, it's a bit. I don't know who you've been speaking to about the Inter thing, but they're probably trying to. I don't know where they're trying to lead you with that. I'm shook of Inter. I actually wanted Inter to go out against Bayern Munich because I think we competed against. I mean, we've played 2 of these teams in the league stage, group stage, however you want to refer to it. As just said earlier, the contexts are different. Teams are PSG are in a bit of form now at this moment in time. They've wrapped up their league so they can rest players and whatnot. And yeah, we competed, dodgy penalty, we lost, but we don't do well against low blocks and defensively switched on sides. So naturally, why would I want to play that? But they've obviously got that, as just eloquently said, they've got the workhorses in midfield and the quality of Barella. One thing that I find annoying, maybe it's just based off the buying game, but they'll concede, or they'll either concede a goal and score very quickly, or when they need a goal, they'll score very quickly. And unlike most, I couldn't tell you another team in Europe really, but they play with 2 forwards. So they're as Jess has said, everything I agree with PSG. Barcelona are good under Hansi Flick. And we might be the newcomers on the block and all of those kind of things, but we can't get excited, but we've dumped out Real Madrid. So that is a statement in itself. And we've got a good manager in Arteta that I'm quite confident, even if we go out, it's not, anyone can get battered, but it's not a thing like we're going to concede 3-4 goals, we're going to crumble. I love Wenger, but not like the Wenger kind of Champions League performance. So it's going to be interesting, man. I want Barca in the final. I want Barcelona to take Inter Milan out because I actually fancy our chances against Barca.
I do not fancy us against Inter at all. I want them out in this next one badly.
They need to go.
Yeah, and I know that they're like, oh, Barcelona, and they're so good, but we're just so much better suited with teams that want to attack us.
Yeah.
You
With the
know,
overthinking managers.
yeah, I don't want to be sitting there doing the horseshoe of death. I really don't. At Inter, we've seen how they defend, and they did not look phased when we were chucking them crosses in there at all. You know, so I don't want that. Oh, the guy, don't make me cry.
Don't worry. I'll see what tabs we got.
Don't make me cry. Wait, do you want me to talk about Bakayo?
Yeah, I'm sure people were. We can talk about Bakayo, but I'm sure people were listening to you, and you just locked off whatever point.
Oh,
Done them dirty.
Oh, sorry. No, but yeah, I'm okay with PSG and Barcelona. You know, if we have to play up against the best team, to me, Barcelona just about edge PSG is the best team in the world right now. You know, so just about. I think they're just a little bit better. But we'll see.
We'll see, man.
We'll see.
Talk to me about Saka, man. He missed the penalty. He kept
Oh
going.
my
He scored.
God.
Living the dream.
Listen, I don't know. This is probably the only little tidbit that is going to sound a little negative. I don't know what came over him to do the Panenka.
I like the confidence, but yeah, I don't know, man.
But, and I didn't see it in real time, but I saw it after. But his body language and the way he attacked.
What do you mean you didn't see it in real time?
So in real time, I didn't see him smiling, but he actually did smile after.
Yeah, he smiled. He went, oh, and then laughed.
Yeah, I didn't see that. So, but it made sense because the way that he played for the rest of the game didn't show a player that was still like rattled over the missing the pen, you know, and that was probably the most impressive thing, in my opinion, from the team. And the two players that made big mistakes in Saliba and Saka, they had goldfish memory. They didn't let it become who they were. They didn't get rattled at all.
Get on with it.
Yeah, they just got on with it. And so his performance was so good after the penalty, before the penalty. He was so good. And the finish was just disgusting. And I'm so happy. I'm actually happy that was the goal that he scored, because it was his perfect moment to run over and do the shush and all that. You know, it's just like perfect. And I actually think, you know, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't have taken the penalty, but I do think scoring when we did score was actually beneficial, because if we had scored a little bit earlier and we would have had a brain fart like Saliba did then, like Saliba had the brain fart when the game was like over. If Saliba had the brain fart,
he just doesn't want to join Madrid. He's showing why they should leave him alone, man. There's always a method to his madness.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Saka was unbelievable. And he
rivals are finally admitting the man's world class now.
Well, I think it took until, you know, people can't deny it anymore. Before it was like
stupid, innit? Yeah.
This, he has to do it in that, but you could see from like even before that he was like right there, you know. So we knew, and a lot of Arsenal fans are still like, can we call him world class? I've been calling him world class. Like, you guys, it's been a while. Like,
without a doubt, he's shown it now. It's done now. Yeah. He's done it at a World Cup. He's done it at Euros. He's doing it year in, year out for Arsenal. He's done it against Madrid. He did it against Bayern. Now they can do. He's world class. You can do this. He's not aesthetically pleasing and do all this crap. You can do that. Take that over there. The man's world class.
100%. He's just. He's
80% one as well, which we got to remember. 100%. Like, he's had an all-timer of a season. Like, this, they need to make a documentary. He had a banging start to it. Season over for 3 months. Some of us, me and Jess as well, was saying, "Yo, should he miss the whole year?" He's come back.
About that for sure.
Exactly. He's done a madness. That it's like he's not been anywhere. And you know, we're always very critical as Arsenal fans, where people are rushed back, quote unquote, and get injured. Same energy. The club, Saka, everyone's got it spot on. But then, Jess, we have to talk about Thomas Partey. Do you still not want to give him a new deal? I know he got the yellow card, but surely we can't let this guy go, man.
But I don't know why you keep asking me, because you know my reasoning for not wanting him at the club.
You know what? I keep forgetting that, you know.
Yeah, that's just.
Yeah.
Gotta stand on business on that.
Yeah,
but
Thomas.
What I will say is that I do feel like he's played really, really, really well in this tie. So, like, I'm not gonna pretend like I thought that he was shit or anything. I think he, like, again, in the first leg, he was levels above whatever they were doing. And I think even in this game yesterday, he was phenomenal. Rice was probably just a little bit, was better.
Yeah,
But
no, he was good. Rice was better than him. I feel at our place, isolated to what you need to do in midfield, they were both great. Of course, Rice scored
yeah,
two
yeah,
free
yeah,
kicks,
yeah.
but yeah, Rice was way better than him.
But this is probably away from the off the field issues, one of my bigger concerns about Partey is not his level. I think people are always like, but Jess, don't you understand his talent level? Yes, I understand his talent level. I'm not a dumbass. My thing is
Nothing to do with football.
He has the ability to have a moment of madness, and you have to be able to maintain your cool. And I think when Declan went off on him, I felt that because I'm like, you need to use your brain. You cannot be getting the yellow. You're on a yellow, and it was
Hot-headed, man.
It wasn't a tackle or anything. You got roped into a Rudiger 101. It was a Rudiger 101. And
can I be honest? I loved it though. I know it's wrong, Jess, but I did like it. I know yellow card. I did like it though. I'm tired of us being pussy-holes. Like even Declan Rice saying the right thing. But if I take it without context, I've seen you bad up Thomas Partey. I ain't seen you move like that with the opponents. I need you to start becoming, drinking alcohol or something and being a bit angrier, Rice. I feel like I'm getting my Arsenal back, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's probably the only thing that just puts a little mark on his performance across these two ties. But I think he was good, so I wouldn't take that away from him at all.
Somebody mentioned Martin Odegaard. Now, for me personally, I still think it's the same old struggles with Martin Odegaard. I think first half, everybody was okay, but you're another one that's a level below. Second half, obviously, you had a hand in the goal. I still think I need to see a bit more from you in the final third, away from the obvious. But I think he had a better game than last week. I definitely think he had a better game than last week, but still semi-underwhelming.
I do too. I feel like we need to have a word. We need to talk about it. We need to do this and that. What else is there to say? He's had a poor season. He's not going to get dropped. He's not going to leave the club. He's not getting sold. So, and if you're somebody that, because
last week you tried to kill me for this, man. I thought you was Martin Odegaard's mother.
I mean, I just don't. I'm never going to turn on a player that has been good for us for 3 seasons, and because he's had his first poor season at Arsenal, all of a sudden we forget that he can't, some of the things that people are saying, he could never do the pass that Marino did.
Yeah, people do way too much. Just say he needs to pull his pants up.
Yeah,
way too much.
So what else do we need to talk about? Because if you're saying that we need to replace him or get rid, you guys can keep saying that, but you already know that's not going to happen, so the most you can hope for is that he comes back into form next season. And
this year's a write-off, man.
That's what you should want. I don't really understand it feels like people want him to be bad now so that they can say, I told you so, I told you so. But that, to me, that's just no. And listen, if you want to use the guy on the screen as an example,
no, chill. Hey, please, go on.
Listen, he's somebody that has had, some hard times and is seeming to come back into some level of form. So if he can do it, then why couldn't Odegaard do it? He had a part to play in that first goal. I thought I agree with you.
Conducted.
He was better than he was in
it's normally you who says you say something about Odegaard about the pass before the pass, or there's something you always say when we speak about him, and you saw it in that game.
I think he does a lot of setting things up, and then maybe someone gets the assist or whatever, and it's not looked at. But if you came out of this game and you were like, Odegaard is something that we need to talk about, that's fair enough. But I'm going to tell you the same thing over and over again. I think he's going to come back next season. I think it's been a difficult season for him.
I hope so. This year's a write-off.
Yeah, this season has pretty much been a write-off, but he's not going to get sold, and he's probably not going to get stripped of the captaincy. At
least not next season at the very least.
Him having the captain's armband is not stopping Declan Rice from being a leader. So, yeah.
And it's not stopping Odegaard from playing shit if you think he's playing shit. Big up Odegaard, but I hear the logic with you take the armband off, psychologically it's great. But what if he still puts in the performances that people are not happy with without the armband? Then where are we at with that? I'll be honest with Martin Odegaard. Watching the game again, I think it was a thing where we got a penalty. He's holding the ball to make so they think he's taking it, and then Saka gets involved. In real time, I thought he wanted to take it. I was like, right, at the Bernabeu, okay. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was Jess. I'll be honest with you. From an Odegaard lover to another, yeah, I've fully written off this season for Odegaard because yesterday I know it's the Bernabeu and all of this. I thought, yeah, you know what? You might be the one where you've done something like Marino or Martinelli or whatever. He's just gonna have to hold it up, man. So which brings me to this man.
Oh my gosh.
Let's have a conversation, Jess. I told you he was good last week. I told you he's a big game player. Helped Lewis Kelly out defensively. Can we have a word? No, the people don't want to hear me. They want to hear you. The Brazilian. The best in the world. Nutmegging his fellow Brazilian.
Not best in the world.
He is. Look at that celebration. Wavy.
If there was any Brazilian that played well yesterday, it was him. It wasn't Vinny, it wasn't Endrick, it wasn't Rodrigo. It was him. He was really, really good. I thought
world-class performance, no?
He was really, really, really good.
Transitional monster.
That was a great transition. He did really well.
Great finish.
Yeah, it was a great finish. He did good. And at the end of, some struggles, if there was any type of goal or any type of way you'd want to kind of turn things around, this is the perfect time and way to do it. And I just think that he was great. There's nothing I can take away from him.
Would it be fair to say it was an Henry-esque finish? One of the best finishes in Arsenal European Nights history?
Yeah, it was like a Thierry Henry type finish. Yeah.
Why don't we see this on a more consistent basis from this guy? Is it because is it really that thing we keep saying in that he's better at the final action / he's better when he does not have time to think? Because he's made the run off the ball. Obviously, he's through his sink or swim. He's done brilliant, but we ain't really been seeing that.
Personally, I mean, he's had situations like this season, not a lot, but he has had them and it hasn't come off. I just think that when he's confident, and I feel like he looks a lot more confident now.
I'll never give up on him.
He did earlier on in the season, so yeah, I think confidence has a big thing to play for. Confidence has a way of really propping you up and making the things that you do just come off sharper and stuff like that. And I think he did so well. So yeah, no hate for me.
Do you know what made me sad as well? Yeah, it's got nothing. It's got something to do with the game, but nothing to do with the game. Obviously, the post-match stuff comes out, and Gabriel Martinelli is just watching it with his family. I'm happy for Kiwior. I've been very harsh on Kiwior, but you got to be honest, he's done very well in these 2 games, and I like that. We might have never seen that, but it didn't feel right. I'll be honest, it didn't feel right not having Gabriel Martinelli in the squad, not having Kai Havertz in the squad, and not having Jesus in the squad. Now it is what it is, and I don't know why I mentioned that. It's just you mentioned Brazil, and I just thought, what happened? Saka's got 24 GA and 24 starts when he missed 3 months. It's crazy. We've gone over that already. Come on, Saka, man. Thank you, bro. You deserve more. You deserve more. What a moment that was. You having Mohamed Kudus? Apparently, he's open to going Saudi. He's got 80 million release clause. Get involved in that?
I can see him going Saudi. I think, sometimes it's you could still see a player in your team, but you kind of moved on. I feel like I've moved on from whatever we were going to do with him, so
really,
yeah, I think so. I think we need a true left winger. He's not that. You could bring him in for the 80 million to play in midfield, but I'm not sure.
Not really on that.
So yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be okay to miss out on him. I think there's other players we could look at.
You haven't linked it up?
No.
Damn, you didn't waste no time. Raw. Okay, fair play. Huyson will still be linked with him. Apparently, he's to provide a supplement to William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. You're still not saying we don't need a centre half? You're not on it?
I mean, I didn't say we don't need one. I'm saying that if there was something that I would like us to go without, it'd probably be that, just because, or especially a left back, because I feel like Miles Lewis-Skelly is more than good enough. And I know we have some shakier backup, but there's just no way that, I'd get that and then miss out on other things. If you know that you're going to get this, you're going to get everything, then it's fair enough. But if there's one thing that we don't have is like suitable backup for Saliba. So he would be able to give us that. If for at some reason Saliba were to leave, then you would already have a replacement there, which I think is kind of what we have with Fiore anyway, with Gabriel, even though I don't think he's leaving. So yeah, I like that. I think he's really, really good. I'd like him.
Bring him or Hatto, man. Immediately.
Yeah, but this is like the last thing I even give a fuck about.
No, I hear that because like I assume you're saying, you know what, sort out striker, left wing, centre mid. Then if you want to do that, do that. For me, the last part of your sentence, you said do everything. I do think it's a do everything kind of window. Like the drop off is too much. I want to ask you about Kivior. To be fair, do you think he's shown Arteta that maybe I can keep Gabriel Magalhaes out the squad? Maybe I could get more minutes. Maybe you don't have to sell me. Maybe I could even change your thinking about bringing in a defender or a left back or multifunctional defender or whatever.
Man, I got
trying to be devil's advocate, man.
No, I got ripped for this yesterday for saying that nothing about how we're going to operate in the summer window changed off of the back of this tie. And there were people that were like,
I hear that,
like upset that after the game, but you guys are asking me and we're talking about it and should Kivior stay and all this kind of stuff. I love Kivior. I think
then they'll tell you you're too emotional about Odegaard though. So it's not making sense. Because if they're saying do keep all of these guys, that's reactionary based on the Madrid game, which is based in emotion.
Well,
so
that's the thing.
People are hypocrites.
Like, I'd rather keep Kivior off of a tie, but I'd rather get rid of somebody that was good for us for 3 years off of the back of one season. I just know how this works. People didn't even want Marino and they hated him, but they're using him as a stick to beat Odegaard. I know how this fan base works. But from my perspective, I do think that Kivior, one, he could start somewhere else. Two, with buying Calafiori and having MLS, I'm not quite sure that this is like, I'm not quite sure that it wouldn't be a good idea to like capitalize on him having a good end to the season and getting
more zeros.
Yeah. And then is what we always do, and I've criticized the club for this, is when a player is at the height or had a good moment, we don't sell.
Start being romantic.
Yeah, if we start getting romantic and replace him with Huijsen, I actually think that would balance out the back line a lot better. You'd have Calafiori and Huijsen, a backup center back pairing. You'd have MLS and Timber, and then you'd have White, and then you just have somebody else can play left back as well. You'd have
I still need another left back, but that's good options.
Yeah. So that to me, there's too much of an overload on the left-hand side. So yeah.
Tierney's gone. Zini's gone.
But yeah, Tierney's gone. So yeah, we'll see. But I will say that I was wrong about not playing Kivior in this tie. I'll say that for sure. Like he was.
We're not the manager.
So yeah.
My last question, then I want to circle back on the PSG game. Like,
yeah.
Focusing on midfield. Like, obviously, there's no Partey, Jorginho. We don't know. Let's just assume he's not there. Do you put Declan Rice as a 6 and you bring Lewis Skelly in and you do something at left back? If Calafiori's fit, does he get in somehow? Do you either go with Zini? Do you go with Tierney? What would be your midfield? So obviously Odegaard, Rice, and someone else.
It depends on who's fit. Obviously, I'm expecting and hoping some players to be fit, but I would say that I think you have to try to, and this is not how I was thinking right after the game, but now that I've kind of cooled down a little bit, I do think that we need to try to keep things as the same as we possibly can. If Jorginho is not fit, then you're going to have to move Declan Rice to the 6. And then I think you just have to go with somebody that's played there before. Like, I think if you don't need to disrupt the back line and you don't need to disrupt the front line, then don't. And so that would probably mean that, as much as I know some people wouldn't like it, playing Trossard in the left 8.
Oh, no. I was with you until I heard that. I don't know about that one, Jess. I don't know about that one.
Well, I don't want to move anybody from the back line. So
you got that much faith in Trossard in the left 8?
Huh?
You got that much faith in Trossard in the left 8?
It's not even about having faith.
As in, and obviously under the context of it's needs must, but you got that much confidence in him.
who else are you going to put there that doesn't disrupt something that's working? Our
I
front
can't
line
lie.
is
I'm putting
working,
Lewis
our
Skelly in
back
there,
line-
man.
I'm not, because
Oh, I'm putting Marino there. I
Lewis
can't lie.
Skelly is probably the only person that I feel confident that can
I'd
deal
rather
with
put Zinni
Dembele.
left back than centre mid
No,
to answer this.
Our back line is our best asset. So I'm
No,
not
I
going to
hear
put
you with
that
that.
around knowing that you're going to come up against Dembele and players like that. Calafiori against Dembele, Tierney against Dembele, Zinchenko against Dembele.
Zinni, I got faith. But then we lose the whole inverted stuff, which is why I align with you, because it is a bit of a trade-off. Honestly, I'll probably just put Marino there, Trossard go up front. You lot are smart enough. If Marino makes that run, you get in there. Declan Rice, if you can do 8 stuff in that game, do 8 stuff, but I'm going to need you to be switched on. I actually think...
Well, I mean, what's the difference, though? I mean, essentially, you're not really saying that much difference.
Yeah, but I wouldn't start Trossard as that left 8.
It
In
doesn't
reality, you can
matter.
do all of that.
Well, either way, Trossard is coming into the team, whether it's at center.
Yeah, 100%. We ain't got nothing else. Hot take before we get out of here. I actually think Kai Havertz be back before the end of this season, and I'm going to speak the Champions League final into existence. But less of that. Let people know where we can find you. She's been nice today.
Of course, I've been nice. I'm a nice person. She knows Arsenal. Type it in. You'll find me there.
Are you sure we're going to start on time? Because again, as I said at the start, you look like you're about to rob someone. Someone knows you money, and I'd hate to be them. You look like you're ready. Ain't guns legal in America as well? Boy,
no,
good luck
I'm not
to he
gonna
or she.
rob anyone. I'm just finishing up setting up the stream. We'll be on in like 5 minutes.
All right, send me the link. And on that note, people, we're cutting out, man. Smash the like button, subscribe. Make sure you're going over to Jess's platform. She said we're going to be live in 5 minutes. I see a lot of you who have come over from mine are going to be over there, and some actually started off with being on Jess's channel. So, yeah, people, smash the like button. Come on, you gunners and all that. See you lot in a bit, man. Peace. You're not going to say bye to people, then?
Bye.
Horrible.